Thank you, Wayne. At the admin committee last week, you indicated you were 98 to 99% supportive of this letter, and your reservations pertain to the definition of assault weapons and the size of magazines. I hope as the council's discussion of this goes along tonight, you might see fit to consider the addition of the following. Just as you were starting to speak, I made some notes here, and I wondered if on the, the sixth bullet point that starts with, that says carefully defining what is an assault weapon, see generally, and that lists the website for an example, and reducing access to such weapons, and then adding the following words, as the legislature may see fit. And then with regard to the second page of this document, the second bullet point down with the third sub-bullet point, for lack of a better term, limiting the sale of ammunition 50 caliber or higher, and then putting in the caveat, excluding black powder for recreational shooting. Black powder, pistols or rifles for recreational shooting.
Are you looking for a response, Nancy?
Well, I just want to put those bees in your bonnet, and then maybe as the rest of the council deliberates, because you've indicated that you're not supportive of the letter now, but I hope as the discussion goes along, as relates to your comments that were very positive at the admin meeting last week, that you might consider the Band-Aid that we're talking about.
Well, the one thing that I am very glad of in this letter, and it's interesting because we did receive an email from somebody that indicated, remember, you're not speaking for the people of Moscow, you're speaking for yourselves. And this letter says that in there. It says, we, the city council, and the mayor recommend, or whatever the verbiage is in that. And so I feel good in the fact that I don't have to make a decision for the people of Moscow tonight. I get to speak on how I feel about it. And so probably until I opened my mouth and started talking, I would have supported it with a couple of major changes in here. But, because, as I said, this is a Band-Aid. It's not fixing anything. You know what? I'll probably be the only one that doesn't support this letter, but tonight I can live with that.
Okay. Let's see. I saw Tim down there nodding his head earlier. You sat in on that committee meeting. Did you have something to comment on that?
I did sit on it on the admin committee meeting, and pretty much right out of the chute when or after Chief Duke made his presentation, I stated that I supported the position. I continue to support it tonight. Society demands actions from governmental entities, and so when things that Wayne spoke of occur, the legislatures are asked by us, by societies, to fix it. And I guess that's why there's such a huge proliferation of rules and statements of position and laws that are enacted. This letter is just a statement of the folks that are going to sign it, and hopefully this city council, or a majority of them. It represents the best that I think this city council can put forth, and I support it.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. I saw Dan's hand next.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Wayne. There is something, fundamentally wrong with people that will go into a school or a movie theater and just, mow people down. The last time I checked, it's already illegal to shoot people, but for some reason that still happens. I think in the state where this happened, it was illegal to have such a weapon, but somebody had that weapon. It was illegal for this kid to have this weapon, but this kid managed to get a hold of it. So I don't know. Again, we're looking at a Band-Aid here. I don't understand personally how what this California website defined as an assault weapon is any more dangerous than a more traditional looking semi-automatic hunting rifle that might have a wood stock rather than something made out of black plastic. Is it dangerous just because it looks more dangerous? I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't think that, I don't fear for my safety, you know, as far as, you know, where we live, I don't think this type of thing is going to happen in one of our schools. We did have an incident in 2007, and again, it was somebody that I don't believe, from what I recall, he had those weapons illegally. There was a law against it. It still happened. It was illegal to shoot the weapon in town. It still happened. I mean, you can pass all these laws, as Wayne called them, Band-Aids, and these things still happen. There's parts of this that do make sense, as far as we need to come up with a better system of background checks, a better way to find out what people's mental health issues are, and how that would relate to whether or not they should be allowed to own a firearm. But like Wayne, I can't go for it as it is, but if the majority of the council says that's what we're going to do, then that's what we're going to do. But as long as it doesn't say the city, you know, because I've had several citizens of Moscow say that's not what I agree with. So it's going to have to be that this is what the council and the mayor says. But again, you know, I'm going to side with Wayne on this as far as you know, how I feel about it.
Thank you, Dan. I just want to mention the letter is based on a memo from the Chief of Police.
And I appreciate the
Command
Chief's work
staff,
on all this.
And it's titled Police Recommendations to Reduce Gun Violence. And the police are tasked with protecting the public. And so I think it's you know, meaningful that these recommendations came from them.
I
Tom?
don't disagree.
Tom?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I feel that the memo written by the police department's leadership is excellent. I think that it would be amazing if we could write a 2-page letter and have it solve anything. It's certainly, because we can't write a 2-page letter and have it solve any problems that we have in this country or in this town, I don't see this as a Band-Aid. I see this as a first step. I see this as a willingness to take a step and to take some action and to do something. I don't think that the problems in this country are only people going in and doing violent things in schools or theaters or post offices or whatever crazy things happen. This letter addresses a number of different issues, not just the mental health of individuals, but the kinds of instruments that they might use within a violent act. And I think that, you know, definitions of weaponry, you know, I don't think we need to get into huge details picking within the letter itself. I think it's fine the way it's written, and it can move forward. If we need to have exceptions for, you know, folks that want to dress up and use muskets and whatever, that's fine, or use muskets without getting dressed up and for ceremonies or for hunting or whatever it might be. But I do think that this is an excellent first step by our police department, and I'm particularly proud of them for taking this step. And I would like to, as a city council member for this city, I'd like to support it. So I'd like to vote in favor of this particular memo being submitted, and I'd like to see, you know, the city council get behind it.
Sue? And just a request to address some of the issues about being able to track weapons to across jurisdictional lines, to be able to have a database and such. I know the admin committee talked about that as well.
I think And you just brought up a point I was going to make. Whatever we recommend to the state isn't going to stop someone from Pullman from driving over the state line with whatever weapon they have. But the things, the federal government can make changes when they feel they have support. And the kinds of things that I think we need support for are the mandating safe storage of guns, including locking or safety devices. I mean, how many times have we seen a little brother shoot somebody or their best friend shoot somebody? And to me, those are the kinds of the gun safety education, these things that are mentioned in the police. In the Chief Duke's memo. They're not Band-Aids, they're education. And the education and changing the mindset is, Wayne, where you're saying, what are we coming to, what's happened? And this mindset of, I've got a right to have a gun. Well, yes, but you must be responsible also. And black powder is not just for marching around. Actually, it's a much more challenging way of hunting and a lot safer. You shoot a lot fewer other hunters with black powder because it won't get that far. You have to get that close. You have to get that close. That's right. Archery hunters are important too. But the information of who owns guns and felons in possession of guns and that kind of information that can be shared and giving permission to share it is important. We can't the Band-Aid will help with the small cuts. If you cut off an arm, a Band-Aid's not going to help. But we can do some. I think what we're feeling is a groundswell of citizenry saying you must do something. And to punish all safe, responsible gun owners for the crimes of a few is not the right way to go. And therefore, I wouldn't want to go overboard in restricting gun ownership. But I want to encourage responsible gun ownership and also to, I think the mental illness and the issuance of permits, considering that is really important. And when you're talking about defining what's an assault weapon and limit and reducing access to such weapons, I could leave that out because if you're dealing with mental illness and the issuance of the permit, they're not going to get any kind of a weapon. I could leave that out because that definition has not satisfied, hasn't come to a satisfactory conclusion, and the access to high-capacity gun magazines, I would leave that in. But I would definitely change the part about the .50 caliber, and otherwise I can support this.
So, Sue, with reference to the .50 caliber on that one point there that says limiting the sale of ammunition .50 caliber or higher, excluding black powder? Mm-hmm. Is that so? That addition of that language. Mm-hmm. Other discussion of this?